Welcome to Forbidden Texts. What you are about to see may shock you. It may surprise you, but will definitely challenge everything you thought you knew. Stick around until the end to discover the forbidden knowledge that they don't want you to have.
Something inside you is screaming that your life is meant for more. You can feel it, a quiet yet undeniable force pulling at the edges of your reality. It's not just a passing thought, it's a pressure, a whisper in your mind that refuses to be ignored. Why now? Why does it only happen after an awakening? What is it trying to tell you? Welcome to Forbidden Texts, where we explore ancient knowledge and forgotten wisdom. What if the life you thought was yours was never truly yours to begin with? What if your dreams, your ambitions, even your struggles, were carefully placed within a structure designed to keep you asleep? And what if, at the moment you began to awaken, you triggered something deeper, something that had been waiting for this exact moment? This feeling, this pull towards something bigger, isn't just a side effect of awakening. It's a sign, a calling. But not in the way you think. The truth about what's happening to you has been hidden for centuries, buried under layers of conditioning, rewritten history, and a system built to keep you from ever finding out. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you will understand exactly why you feel this way, and what happens if you choose to follow it. They call it an awakening, but that word doesn't even come close to describing what actually happens. It's not just waking up, it's realizing that everything you thought was real, everything you built your life around, was a carefully crafted illusion. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The world looks different. Conversations feel hollow. Your job, your relationships, the things you used to chase, none of it satisfies you anymore. It's like someone changed the rules of the game, but everyone around you is still playing by the old ones. At first, it feels liberating, like you've stepped outside the matrix and can finally breathe. But then, something else creeps in, a gnawing, restless feeling. Like you're meant to do something, but you don't know what. It's as if a door has been unlocked, but you're standing in front of it, paralyzed, unsure of what's on the other side. Why does this happen? Why does awakening come with this deep, almost unbearable urge for more? Most people think awakening is just about seeing through illusions. That's only half the story. The real shift, the thing no one talks about, is what happens after. When your old identity starts to dissolve and something else begins to take its place. Because once you wake up, you're not just an observer anymore. You're being pulled towards something bigger. And that's where everything changes. You start to feel it, an invisible force pressing against you, urging you to move, to change, to step into something unknown. It's not just a thought. It's deeper than that. It's in your body, in your dreams, in the moments of silence when no one else is around. It's the call. At first, it's subtle, a quiet nudge, a sense that your current life doesn't fit anymore. But as time goes on, it grows louder, more insistent. You try to ignore it, distract yourself, maybe even convince yourself that you're imagining things. But the call doesn't go away. It waits. And the longer you resist, the heavier it becomes. So what is it? And why does it only happen after an awakening? Most people assume that once they wake up, life will just start making sense, that clarity will flood in, and everything will fall into place. But what actually happens is the opposite. Awakening doesn't bring instant answers. It brings questions, doubts, discontent. Because now, you're seeing what's really happening beneath the surface. You're feeling the weight of everything you were blind to before. The systems of control, the distractions, The way people are kept numb, stuck in cycles, never questioning why they feel empty. And in that awareness, something inside you recognizes its own power. It's not random. It's not a coincidence. There's a reason this happens after awakening, and it's much deeper than most realize. Because the truth is, the call isn't asking you to change your life. It's demanding it. Most people don't realize what's actually happening when they feel this call. They think it's just a personal crisis, a phase, some kind of existential confusion. But that's because they've been conditioned to ignore it. Society doesn't want you to answer the call. It's designed to keep you distracted, tied to routines, obligations, and artificial desires that keep you from ever questioning whether the life you're living is even yours. And for most people, that conditioning works. Until it doesn't. The moment you start waking up, something shifts. The distractions lose their grip. The things that used to excite you now feel empty. The routines you once followed without question now feel like a prison. And underneath it all, you feel something growing, an urge to break free, to go deeper, to step into something bigger. This isn't just a mental shift. It's something deeper, something ancient. Because this feeling, this call, it's not new. It's been felt by mystics, philosophers, and seekers throughout history. It's why people have left everything behind to chase something they can't explain. It's why entire civilizations have been shaped by those who dared to answer it. But here's what no one tells you. This call isn't just about you. It's not just about personal fulfillment or finding your purpose. It's about something much, much bigger. Because once you step beyond the illusion, once you see through the programming, you become something dangerous. A force that can no longer be controlled. And that is exactly why you feel this way. The system was never built for awakened minds. It was built for obedience, for routine, for predictability. The moment you begin to question it, you become a problem. That's why most people never make it past this point. They feel the call, but instead of following it, they rationalize it away. They convince themselves that they're just overthinking, that they need to be more practical, that chasing something bigger is just a fantasy. But here's the truth. That resistance you feel, that doubt, that fear, it's not random. It's part of the system. Because the moment you begin to step out of it, the system fights back. Not with force, but with something far more effective: self-doubt. It whispers in your ear, telling you that you're imagining things, that you're not special, that you don't have what it takes, that answering the call would be reckless, irresponsible, impossible. And if that doesn't work, it offers distractions, more entertainment, more superficial goals, more ways to numb yourself just enough to make you forget, at least for a while. This is why so many people stay trapped. They feel the call but never move. They know something is missing but tell themselves they're fine. They make peace with a life that doesn't feel like theirs because stepping into the unknown feels too terrifying. And that's exactly how the system wins. But you wouldn't still be here if that was enough for you. Because something inside you knows the truth. You weren't meant to stay small. You weren't meant to stay asleep. And now, the question isn't whether the call is real. The question is, will you answer it? Most don't. They hear the call, they feel it deep in their bones, but when it comes time to move, they freeze. Not because they don't want to step into something bigger, but because they've been conditioned to believe that they're not allowed to. The system trains you to seek permission. From parents, from teachers, from bosses, from invisible authorities you don't even realize you've internalized. It tells you that your life should follow a script. School, job, security, retirement. Stay in line. Stay predictable. But the call doesn't care about the script. It shreds it. And that's where most people get stuck. Because when you finally start to listen, you realize something terrifying. There is no path laid out for you. No safety net. No guarantees. Just you and the unknown. And that's why people turn back. They trade the possibility of something greater for the comfort of what they know. They convince themselves that this feeling will pass, that they can suppress it, that they can make peace with the life they've already built.
A quick message. This space has become something truly special for many of us. A community of people on a shared journey of spiritual growth, healing, and awakening. Your comments and stories inspire me every day, and it's clear there's so much more we can create together, especially since this path can feel lonely at times. That's why we've created a spiritual space on Patreon, a sanctuary for deeper connection, exclusive content, and meaningful conversations with others from this channel who share your journey. Together, we can build something uplifting, authentic, and spiritually powerful. If this resonates with you and you'd like to be part of something bigger, whatever you're going through, you'll find the link in the description or pinned in the comments. Your membership not only helps support the channel, but also helps grow this beautiful community. Let's create something amazing together.
But they can't. Because once you've heard the call, truly heard it, there's no going back. You can ignore it, you can run from it, but it will find you again. Louder, more insistent, more unbearable. Because the call doesn't just ask you to change, it demands it. And if you don't listen, the consequences are worse than fear, worse than failure. The consequence is regret. And that is the one thing you can never escape. Regret is the silent killer. It doesn't strike all at once. It creeps in slowly, disguising itself as being responsible, as playing it safe, as doing the right thing. At first, you convince yourself that ignoring the call was the mature decision, that chasing something bigger was a foolish dream, that settling for what you had was enough. But then the years pass, and you start to feel it, the weight of what you didn't do, the moments you let slip away, the life you could have lived pressing against you like a shadow you can never outrun. This is why people wake up in their 40s, 50s, 60s, suddenly desperate for change. They realize too late that they built a life around avoiding the one thing they were meant to do, that they chose comfort over purpose, that they silenced the call until it was nothing more than a distant echo. And the worst part, the world moves on. The system doesn't care. The distractions keep coming. The script continues without you. That's the real cost of ignoring the call. Not failure, not embarrassment, but knowing deep down that you were meant for more and you chose not to take it. And that's why the call feels so urgent. Because it is. It's not some abstract idea. It's not just a fleeting thought. It's a deadline, a point of no return. And the longer you wait, the harder it becomes. Because the call doesn't beg. It calls once. Then it tests you. And if you don't answer, it moves on to someone else. But what happens when you do answer? That's the part no one talks about. They romanticize it, make it sound like some grand journey, like everything will suddenly fall into place the moment you decide to step into something bigger. That's a lie. The truth is, answering the call is brutal. It strips you down. It takes everything you thought you knew about yourself and destroys it. Because the version of you that was asleep, the one that followed the script, that played it safe, that sought approval, that version of you cannot come with you. So the moment you say yes, the unraveling begins. Your old life, it starts to fall apart. The relationships built on your former self, they get tested. Some won't survive. The job that once gave you a false sense of stability, It starts to feel unbearable. The identity you spent years constructing, it begins to crack under the weight of something real. And this is where most people turn back. They think, if this was my path, shouldn't it be easier? No, because the call isn't about comfort. It's about transformation. And transformation is violent. It forces you to face everything you've avoided. The fears, the doubts, the weaknesses. It drags you into the depths of yourself, into the unknown, into the void. And the void is terrifying. It's where all the certainty you once clung to dissolves. It's where you question everything. But it's also where something else happens. Something only those who push through will ever understand. Because buried beneath the destruction of your old life, beneath the chaos and fear and uncertainty, is something you never expected. The real you. The one that was always there. Waiting. And once you find that version of yourself, everything changes. Because now, you're not just awake. You're unstoppable. And that's why the system fears those who answer the call. Because once you step through the fire, once you let everything that isn't you burn away, you emerge as something the system cannot control. A person who doesn't seek permission. A person who doesn't need validation. A person who is no longer afraid. And fear is the only thing that ever kept you in place. It was never your limitations. Never your circumstances. Never the excuses you told yourself. It was fear, disguised as logic, as responsibility, as practicality. But when you face it, when you walk straight into the unknown and refuse to turn back, the illusion shatters. And you realize the thing they never wanted you to know. You were never trapped. You were never powerless. You were never small. That was just the story they sold you. A story designed to keep you in place, to make you doubt yourself, to make you believe that the call was nothing more than a fantasy. But the moment you answer it, you rewrite the story. And suddenly, everything makes sense. The restless feeling, the dissatisfaction, the sense that you were meant for more. Because you were. And now, standing on the other side, looking back at the life you once thought was yours, you see the truth. There was never anything holding you back. Except you. And now, that version of you is gone. So what happens now, that's the part no one can prepare you for. Because once you break free, once you step outside the illusion, there's no map, no instructions, no guarantee that everything will suddenly become easy. But that's the whole point. Because the call was never about comfort. It was never about giving you certainty or security. It was about forcing you to become the kind of person who no longer needs them. And now that you're here, standing in the unknown, fully awake, you realize something else. You're not alone. Because while most people will ignore the call, a few, will hear it and answer. And those people, they're out there, walking their own path, dismantling their own illusions, stepping into their own power. And when you find them, everything changes again. Because the call isn't just personal. It's collective. It's not just about your awakening. It's about something bigger, something ancient, something that has been happening for centuries in quiet, unseen ways. Every great shift in history, every movement, every revolution, every moment where the world changed, it began with individuals who woke up, who saw through the illusion, who felt something bigger pulling them forward and chose to follow it, even when it made no sense, even when it cost them everything. And now, it's happening again. Right now. People are waking up. The system is losing its grip. And those who have answered the call, they are already moving, already building, already stepping into the roles they were meant for. The only question left is, will you join them? Because this is it. The moment where everything either changes or stays the same. You've seen the illusion for what it is. You've felt the call, the pull towards something greater. You know the cost of ignoring it and the price of answering it. There's no more pretending. No more waiting for the right time. No more hoping that someone else will do it for you. This is the part where most people hesitate. They stand at the edge, looking down into the unknown, and they freeze. They tell themselves they need more time, more certainty, more proof that they won't fail. But the truth is, there is no proof. There never will be. Because the call isn't about guarantees. It's about trust. Not in a system, not in a structure, not in a path that has already been laid out for you. In yourself. That's what this was always about. Not escaping the system. Not breaking free from conditioning. Becoming someone who doesn't need those things to define them. Becoming the kind of person who moves forward without permission. Becoming the kind of person who chooses purpose over comfort. Becoming the kind of person who, when they hear the call, doesn't hesitate. They answer. And that changes everything. Because the moment you take that first step, you realize something. Something that was hidden from you all along. The call wasn't just leading you to something bigger. It was leading you back to who you were meant to be all along. And now, for the first time in your life, you are finally free.